Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson is an ordained Centers for Spiritual Living minister serving the Center for Spiritual Living Greater Baltimore community as our spiritual director. He has frequently been referred to as a Renaissance man and visionary New Thought leader. As a lifelong learner with a passion for self development, personal transformation, transmutation, and transfiguration, he lives his bliss as a teacher, minister, author, visual artist, ASL performing artist, mentor, father, grandfather, and more. By giving people applicable tools and practices that enable them to live a more fulfilled life, recognizing, realizing, and materializing their full divine potential. His mission is to live, move, and be an active member of society who serves to educate, elucidate, and emancipate people and communities to awaken and empower themselves. ACTIVE is an acronym that stands for authentic, compassionate, transparent, inspired, vibrant, and empowered. I give you Reverend Dr. Ray.
Namaste and greetings. Good morning. So, today we will be discussing this idea of embracing the now, being present in the now, recognizing that the present moment is a present, it is a gift when we embody it. In order to do this, we have to ask this question though: does life seem to be passing you by? Well, what if there was a way to get back into the flow and experience more joy and more wonder on a daily basis? Well, recognize that there is when we start by embracing the now, today. Awareness and appreciation of wonder can only happen in the now. In fact, everything Everything happens in the now, for there is no other moment. Now is that point of power. Author Mary O'Malley defines curiosity as the art of bringing our attention and our immediate experience together. In being curious in this way, by being present in wonder, we are transformed by coming into alignment with life. Now, I know that there are some people who said, but Reverend Ray, you can affect like with Reiki, you can send Reiki to your past self. So, and I say, yes, but when are you sending Reiki to your past self? Aren't you sending it now? If you're doing a treatment, aren't you doing the treatment now? Whatever it is that we are doing it now. And yet, there are those times when we are so immersed in the story that, yeah, I know it's January and yes, we're going to Christmas, that I know we get so immersed and entrenched in the story that we then become like Jacob Marley, bound to our past, link by link, yard by yard, mile by mile, recognizing that whatever stories we are telling right now about ourselves and about our experiences right now, powerful predictors of what we are going to experience individually and collectively. How we tell the story now affects how that next experience will unfold. We have an option to focus on, in the same way that Scrooge did, to focus on his life experiences in a way where he was curious to see what each of the ghosts brought him, the ghost of Christmas past, present, and future. And in the present moment of his now, he was willing to experience whatever he needed to experience in order to tell a different story, in order to be freed from the story he had been telling, the story he had been living based upon as a miser, as a tyrant and a dictator. He decided, he chose to tell a different story. Are we willing to tell a different story in order to have a different experience? In this moment right now, by embracing the now, are we ready and willing to tell a different story in order to have a different experience? Eckhart Tolle says, it is not uncommon for people to spend their whole life waiting to start living. Well, I'll do it, I'll finally be happy when the kids graduate and go off to college, or I'll finally be able to live the life I want to live when I can retire. I'll finally be able to, once tomorrow, once 20 years from now, once next week, once whatever that is then happens, then I will be able to really live my life. Once I have $1 million, then I can live. Once I get my degree, then I can live. Once I get certified, then I can live. Once I'm ordained, then I can start living. Are you breathing right now? Because if you're breathing right now, you're already living. You're already alive. Question is, are you living to the degree that you could be enjoying, could be embracing the beauty and the gift of this moment? Are you living in the, see, there's a difference between living and existing. Yeah, you're breathing, but are you truly living life with laughter and love and freedom and harmony? Are you living from that consciousness, or are you telling this story about someday I'll finally live? Someday I'll finally live when I have my house with a picket fence, Prince or Princess Charming or whomever. When I have the money I desire, then I'll finally live. Say what now? So let's pause and say, so in this story that we're telling ourselves, where is the focus? Am I so focused on my past with regrets and shame, with guilt and grief, that I'm unable to enjoy the gift of this moment? Or am I so forward or future focused with worry and fear and anxiety that I am also unable to be present to the moment, the power, the beauty in this moment right now? So what happens when we are more now oriented, more present? What happens when we let go of the past, in terms of that is where our focus is? We let go of the future in terms of that's where our focus is. Our focus is on the present. So even while, quote unquote, we are planning for a future event, for example, my ordination. So I got ordained last February, but the ordination service tentatively right now is on the calendar for next year, 2023. While we are planning in the present for a future event, our attention is on the present. What are we scheduling, planning, organizing now? Rather than, but what if we send out invitations and no one get, that's worry. Well, what if COVID still, that's fear. Oh my goodness, what if, that's anxiety. Future. So even while planning for a future event, it's important to be anchored and grounded in the consciousness of the present and the point of power that is in the present. Far too often, We take life for granted and move through life on some kind of autopilot as though we are sleepwalking. Our thoughts are so focused on something else that life is just passing us by. We're not being present. We're not even being present in our own lives or for our own lives. We're missing out on the gift of life. How many times have people said things like, oh, the kids grew up so fast that like we weren't paying attention. I was so focused on work that I missed my child's first steps. I was so focused on, I missed their first words. I was so focused on, I missed their college graduation. I was so focused on something else rather than love and life in this present moment, that life is slipping by. Life is just passing by me. There's a movie, I can't think of the name right now. If I'm not mistaken, it starred Adam Sandler, where he had a remote control where he could fast forward past the boring parts of his life that he didn't want to be a part of so that he could just jump to the good stuff. But what he noticed was eventually, I'm going to fast forward 30 seconds. But then it got to the point where 30 seconds became 30 days. Wait, I didn't mean to miss that much. But your focus was to miss it because you tried to fast forward it. You were focused on something else rather than being present. Eckhart Tolle also says, if you get the inside right, the outside will fall into place. Primary reality is within, secondary reality is without. It's on the outside, as within, so externally. That's why we say things like, change your thinking, change your life. As our thinking changes, it changes our behavior. And as our behavior changes, it changes the external environment and our experiences. So getting the inside right means being more effective stewards and then living from that place, taking action from that paradigm and consciousness. As above, so below, as within, so without. As the universe, so the individual soul. It is all one. What happens in one happens in the other. That's why we understand and recognize that when Frank is praying or meditating, the consciousness that he is steeped in affects the entirety of creation, because there is only one mind, and that mind is God. So when Frank, who is anchored in and using that same mind, is putting into the vibration, then everywhere that vibration is, which is everywhere because that's where God is, then that is affecting everything and everyone. Everything and everyone is affected by what we think, what we say, what we feel, and what we do. Once again, this is why we are being called to be more effective stewards. Ernest Holmes says, all ideas are formed in the present, since there is neither past nor future to reality. And it's a capital R reality. So in other words, that means God, the universe, spirit. So all ideas are formed in the present, since for God, for spirit, for the universe, there is no past or future. There's only the present. Spirit is always infinitely now. So being mindful that whatever happened in the past, traumas, depression, grief, is healed in the present, right here and right now, so that whatever quote unquote future experience is then changed by our present change. Pause and breathe, because the question is, how often do we try to manage time? You know, I'm reading this book on time management. I'm taking a workshop on time management. Time management. Say what now? you do realize that the only thing you can manage is what you are doing. You can't manage time. See, if you could manage time, then you could say, oh man, I'm late for work. And you could Doctor Strange the time and roll time back so that you're on time. You don't manage time. You manage what you are doing within the bracket that we call time. What you are doing between 1 p.m. and 2 p.m., what you are doing between that constructed thing called time, that is what you can manage. Don't try to manage time. Manage what you are doing with your life. Manage your thoughts during this thing called now. Manage your words during this thing called now. Manage your feelings and emotions during this thing called now. Manage your actions during this thing called now. And what we notice is forever, the eternality of the moment then opens up to us, and we notice greater effective change occurring. Sadhguru says, and I don't necessarily agree with the wording here with slipping away, but I'm going to give you his quote nonetheless. Time is slipping away for all of us at the same pace. You cannot manage time, but you can manage your energy, right? So an hour here in Baltimore is the same as an hour in China. Like China doesn't have an extra 5 minutes to an hour there. And England doesn't have a 5 minutes less than an hour here. An hour is an hour. So it's not about managing time. It's about managing the energy in the moment for what we desire to experience. Pause and breathe, because I know some folks are like, oh man, that's a lot of responsibility to take on myself. It's a lot of responsibility to take on myself. Because what you're telling me is I'm responsible for my thoughts. Yes. Well, but I'm responsible for my words. Yes. I'm responsible for my emotions and feelings. Yes. I'm responsible for my actions. Yes. I'm responsible for the story that I tell about time. Yes. So you want the story to change? You are the author. You are the creator of that. You get to change that. And just because we are, quote unquote, in the Toltec teaching, the dream of the planet, just because we are born into a dream that already exists based upon those who started a story 100 years ago, does not mean we cannot change that story. Right? Like, really think about that. We get to change the story of our lives, even when that story was not created by us. Do we choose to buy into that story and continue that same story? Or do we choose to tell a different story? Paulo Coelho says, when each day is the same as the next, it's because people fail to realize the good things that happen in their lives every day that the sun rises. Breathe that in. Each day, if it's the same old business as usual, same old day, same day, a different dollar. We say, what? It's not the same day. Yes, it is, Reverend Ray. It's the same day. It's just a different something, but it's the same day. Business as usual, ain't it? Same old, same old. Okay, so wait. Do you realize that you are telling that story, and in that, what you are doing is robbing yourself of the good things that can happen in your life in that moment, each time the sun rises or sun sets? Tell a different story rather than keep living the same. It's not Groundhog Day. Yeah, I remember the name of that movie. It's not Groundhog Day. You're not living the same 24 hours each day that you wake up. you have an opportunity to change. And even the character in the story, whose name I don't remember the character's name, even he caught on and said, wait a minute, I can change. It's the same day, but I can change. And he learned new things until such point as he learned enough and evolved enough that he started telling different stories, and then he was free from reliving the same Groundhog Day. Tell a different story. It need not be the same old business as usual. Is that living life or is that existing? We're not zombies. We're not here to just go and muddle through life. We are the infinite divine power and presence, life itself, incarnating in, through, and as each and every one of us right now. And what it is not the same old, same old. It is an infinite power, an infinite presence of love and joy, wonderment. Do we acknowledge and adopt and embody that story in order to be free from the link by link, yard by yard chains of a past, guilt, shame, or a future worry and fear? If we want to be free, then we need to live in the present. Change the story, live in the present. The present is the only place where our power exists. Now is when you heal. Now is when you hug. As I often say when I'm doing meditation, I can't rebreathe yesterday's breath. I can't re-hug Tracy yesterday. I can't re-hug her yesterday. I can't pre-hug her tomorrow. Because if I go upstairs and I say, Tracy, I want to give you a hug so you can save it for tomorrow, she's gonna look at me like, what? But you're not hugging me tomorrow. What you're doing is you're hugging me now. Yeah, but it's a hug for tomorrow. But I'm not gonna feel it tomorrow. I'm feeling it now. So the point of power, the ability to heal, to love, to joy and wonderment is now. Ernest Holmes says, here and now we are surrounded by and immersed in an infinite good. How much of this infinite good is ours? All of it. As much as we are willing and able to embody in that moment, all of it is ours. Do you tell a story of lack and scarcity when it comes to friendship, love, self-care, even with time? You know, I never have enough time. I'm not good with names. I never remember anybody's names. Oh man, if you could, I'm just no good when it comes to, oh, if only, like, and I understand that that may be your experience. Names are a challenge. But the moment you say, I never, the moment you tell the story of I never, you are laying the foundation for never in each now moment to continue to be your truth, your lived experience. Here and now, we are surrounded by and immersed in an infinite good. How much of this infinite good is ours? All of it. Mary O'Malley says, curiosity is the art of bringing your attention and your immediate experience together. Be curious about your life. Be curious with wonder about your relationships. Be curious about your friendships. Be curious about whatever meal you are. Oh, wow. I wonder how good this is going to be. I wonder, like, be curious about, I wonder what ingredients they use. Be curious about, I wonder what this movie is going to be like. I wonder how it's going to improve my life. Be curious about all of the aspects of your life and your experience. Bring them together and notice that's how we change. When we bring curiosity as a child, bring unto me the children, those who are innocent, those who have not been tainted by the collective dream, those who have not been domesticated to believe in the lie of their inferiority. They're not good enough. They're not worthy enough. Bring me the children. Come unto me. Unless you be born again as a child, unless you are innocent and pure, unless you are willing to shed the old paradigms of and stand bare and free of all of that, to move forward with curiosity and awe and wonder. Unless you do that, then yes, you're going to continue to experience the same old, business as usual, lack, scarcity, guilt, shame, and fear. That will be the tone, the tune of your life. But is that really what you want? Or would you rather explore your life with amazement and wonder? Explore the depths and the breadth of your relationships and your dreams. Explore your past experiences. Yes, there is trauma. Yes, I've experienced great trauma in my life. But when I approach the trauma in my life as though I am an archaeologist and I'm sifting through the sands of time in my life and I find things, there's a level of detachment, even though I am looking at it and I'm experiencing it. But now I am able to see it anew. I am able to see it for what it is, as an explorer, as a scientist, as a religious scientist. And then I am able to change the experiences. I look at it differently. Are you willing to explore? Are you willing to truly know thyself? Temet noske, are you willing to do what the Oracle of Delphi invited all who would come before her at the temple? Know thyself. For it is only in knowing ourselves that we are able to grow, evolve, and change individually and collectively. Breathe. Ernest Holmes says, infinite intelligence is omnipresent because the mind of the universe is one indivisible unit. All of it is present wherever our attention is focused. And truthfully, it's present even when we're not focused. But what he is saying is we are bringing that power and presence to the point of our focus. Omnipresence itself is what you have access to right here and right now. So what are you doing with it? Einstein said you cannot solve a problem from the same consciousness that created it. You have to learn to see the world anew, see the problem anew, see the problem as already having a solution because it's present there. You cannot shift, solve, or resolve, or heal a problem that we cannot or will not identify. So the first thing you have to do is identify. As you're exploring, what do archaeologists do? They identify, oh, this is a piece of pottery. Oh, this is a tool used for cooking or hunting. You identify it. Then once you can identify it, you know how to use it appropriately. You know what to do with it. So identify the problem and then shift the consciousness around it in the present so that the problem dissolves and allows the solution to said problem to take its place. And one of the ways we do this is by being mindful. So ask yourself, am I mindful or mindful? Is my mind full of all of the things I have to do today, all of the things I have to do today, all of the things that I have done, all of the sins of my past? My mind is so full, I can't keep track. My mind is so full, I can't keep track. My mind is so full, I can't keep track. Oh my God, so much is going on in my mind at any given moment. I have such a hard time concentrating and focusing because I got so much going on. I'm thinking about the past, I'm thinking about the present, I'm thinking about the future, I'm thinking about then, I'm thinking about you, I'm thinking about me, I'm thinking about what's going to happen. I'm confused because my mind is full rather than be present and mindful of what's going on now. If eating dinner, then eat dinner. Don't eat dinner while thinking of my next to-do list item, because then you're eating and you're done eating and you're like, oh, wow, I didn't even taste anything because I'm so focused somewhere else. When we practice mindfulness, we find a great many benefits. Stress is reduced, our memory is supported, empathy increases, childlike wonderment is restored. It improves our cognition. There are so many benefits to being mindful and present if we're willing to practice it. Reverend Dr. Ray says, unpleasant things happen in life. Some are avoidable and some are not. And there are tools and practices that assist us in not only discerning the difference between these two, but in navigating them in ways that allow us to heal, to thrive, to evolve, and to live into our spiritual magnificence, where we then have great power to change the things that can be changed. Breathe. You right now can change not only your life, but all of life. And this starts by knowing yourself more deeply and allowing the real you, your true self, to shine brightly, if you're willing. Breathe. This week's practice. What things tend to distract you from being present? Job? Fear? What are the things that tend to distract you from being present? What stories are you holding on to that may be limiting your experience of good? What stories are you telling that are the very things that are limiting your good? And how much good are you willing to experience? Are you willing to experience the full expansiveness of all the good in the universe? Or are you limiting yourself because on some level you don't feel worthy of that much love, that much good, that much joy, that much power, that much of anything? Are you willing to experience more good? How much good? What is one activity this week, each day of the week? What is one activity, and start today, what is one activity that you can do more mindfully? Brushing your teeth, putting on a shoe, taking vitamins. What is one activity that you can do, commit to doing this week more mindfully? And then lastly, have a conversation with two people about a problem that you are experiencing in your life. What areas of your life are you trying to push away discomfort? And then simply share without needing to fix or offer advice. Simply share and be in the space of holding a curious expectation that the answer, that the healing, that the resolution already exists and that it will present itself to you. Breathe. This week's affirmation or declaration, I will say it first. And if you feel in alignment with it, say it with me on the second go round. I am present with what is. I open to the possibilities. I am present with what is. I open to the possibilities. Now let us anchor and ground in our closing benediction, knowing that all that was said is the truth of our being. Right here and right now, we tell a different story. Right here and right now, that is a story of being present. It is a story of being powerful. It is a story of allowing ourselves to be that which God is as us. The presence of God moves in me, through me, and as me. And what is true for me is true for all of us. There is only that which is love, incarnating itself, demonstrating and manifesting itself in, through, and as this thing we call our body, our lives, and the affairs of our lives, our work, our school, our job, our relationships, and all of this stuff. It is all how God is acting upon itself. And it is good when we declare that it is good and live from this point of goodness. How are we stewarding our actions, our thoughts, our feelings in this moment right now, this point of power? And so we surrender this into the law, knowing the law says yes. And we allow this to be what it already is: answered prayer. Good and oh so good. And so it is. Amen. Thank you for joining us. See you in Zoom.